Welcome to New Access Media. I'm your host, Hot Pot King. Are you the government of an interloping Western nation? Still mad that the age of colonialism is over? Would you like to try to take over the world? Are you trying to exert your cultural and racial superiority without pesky opposition? You come to the right place. Here at New Access Media, we understand you, so welcome. I know you're already doing your best to maintain several international wars at the same time, and those are big money makers. But there are some countries you can't simply go to war with, unfortunately. What if I told you there's a way to destroy those countries without war? Today I'm going to give you your playbook. We're going to focus on how to target China. We're going to win, no matter how many times we have to. No. It's critical we maintain our public story. We're not trying to break China apart under the guise of freedom. We're just spreading the message of democracy because that's what improves lives. Please do not share this video with anyone outside your government. Don't like this video, do not promote it on social media. The more the public understands this plan, the less likely it is to work. So keep this video between us superior people. First on the agenda, we need to recolonize Hong Kong. Remember when Hong Kong was peacefully and willingly given to Britain as a New Year's present in 1840? It came with a big cash envelope and a population of servants. Thank China for your generosity. East and West came together and signed what we at New Access Media like to call the Overly Fair Treaty. Their culture of servitude and subservience to white people was preserved. We're always willing to allow locals to live as slave labor. That's our footprint, slavery. We suppressed their misguided rebellions and poured money into the city. With only a tiny area to manage, we were able to raise the standard of living for Hong Kongers. We never told them the money came from the blood of their brothers. Instead, we told them it came from a better peaceful system called democracy and capitalism. And eventually they believed us. Sure, some people on the mainland complained about wanting Hong Kong back, but we dealt with them. We had a little chat with them, and with a bit of persuasion, they finally listened to reason. But that was a long time ago. Old history. We showed the world how generous we were by giving Hong Kong back to China in 1997. Of course, even though the city was never meant to be ours, we left a few Trojan horses in the treaty. We made China promise to manage its people in the way we determine. Colonialism is awesome, am I right? If China was supporting a massive violent separatist insurrection in America, we would get the nukes ready. But our global propaganda machine is the widest in the world. We can do the exact same thing to them, and no one will try to stop us. On top of that, people will actually push for the destruction and death of millions of people to spread their ideology. And all the while, they will claim it's for freedom. Seriously, do not let this get out. And my brothers and sisters, with the trade war going on and us strangling our citizens' rights, it's time to call on those Trojan horses we left behind. We need a military base and leverage against China. After all, they've made a bigger positive impact on the world using socialism than we ever expected. And that's not our system. We must force our will on the rest of the world, by definition making them not free. You know, for freedom. The first thing we need to do is instigate an insurrection. We've had our China defamation teams working around the clock for decades now, convincing as many people as we can that their way is bad and wrong. When we fight terrorism, we do it by dropping bombs on any nations we want, killing civilians in the name of peace. Then we lie about it and do some more. If China tries to fight terrorism, even by peaceful means, we direct the world's attention to every detail, jumping and screaming about how unjust it all is. When we want to know something, we simply use our espionage infrastructure, which is the largest and most powerful in the world. We spy on billions of people in every country across the universe. If China does any espionage at all, we make it seem like they're creating 1984, a dystopian world of cameras and Big Brother. Of course, we've already created that world, but we won't emphasize that publicly. Instead, we'll create false debates about whether whistleblowers should be in trouble or not. Because that's the important thing. When someone in the New Access steals intellectual property, we call them an intellectual property thief. When someone in China steals intellectual property, we say that China is an intellectual property thief. It's so easy. I think you get the point. We spread out our bad to be only representative of the individual and consolidate China's bad to represent the whole nation, race, and culture. You know, fascism. Thanks to your efforts, many people know China is evil and we are good. They are the ones meddling in other countries' affairs. So let's meddle in their affairs. Since people already know that China's evil and bad, all we need to do is pump money into Hong Kong under the guise of non-profit organizations or other kinds of pro-democracy movements. Calling them this is key because, as you already know, people still think that democracy exists. When they see democracy, they don't think of insurrection or separatism. They think of peace. They see patriotic George Washington on a horse made of crystal. Seriously. They actually believe that taking a popularly created government away from a group of people and replacing it with something else can be a democracy. These people will believe anything we propagandize them to. So then, as we grow local indoctrination and anti-government power, we slowly turn up the heat, make things more and more volatile. Now, you and I know that if we were the Chinese government, we would slowly integrate Hong Kong into the rest of the country. After all, there's strength in unity. All we have to do is make sure every single step of that is scary sounding and controversial as possible. It's easy. Next thing you know, we got protests on our hands. Normally, we would let them die out, but if we want to, we can bolster those protests. We can make them an insurrection. When we do want to push forward, support the insurrection. That's all it takes. Start pumping media out, glorifying the protesters. It doesn't matter what we say about them, just make sure it's something good. They're freedom fighters, rebels against oppression. They want democracy. Yeah. Pump out articles about how oppressed Hong Kongers are. The goal here is twofold. First, we want to signal the protesters that we're on their side. You know, encourage them to do more damage to the city. And also, we want to get our people on board with potentially recolonizing Hong Kong. After all, these poor protesters on the other side of the world are our concern. No matter how many limbs get eaten off, or women get mobbed, or government buildings get smashed and destroyed, just show tear gas, just show police defending themselves. You get it, right? The trickiest part is we need to be sure and maintain this narrative. Try to follow with me here because it's a little detailed. China already had recent insurrections. In fact, many of them. But only a few of them were successful. Most notably the 1911 Revolution and the Communist Revolution. Those were massively popular movements. Each was a huge response to quality of life being extremely low and foreign policies allowing too much exploitative foreign intervention. Any protest that only exists in Hong Kong can't be considered democratic. That's because even if every single person in Hong Kong wanted something, it still wouldn't even be 0.1% of China. You see, a democratic move relies on the majority will of the people. Not what one single group of people wants. That's the tricky part. We need to convince people who aren't paying attention that somehow these protesters and rioters want democracy. Even though, of course, what they want and what we want is to overthrow a democratically established government in favor of a puppet state. Shh. As the protest continues, we need to get more and more militant people involved. If they don't have enough, we can send our own in. Molotov cocktails.
Oh my god. Oh shit.
Knives, bombs, slingshots, heat lasers, bats, rocks, bricks, sticks, bottles, anything. What we do is empower rioters. What we do is encourage violence. Then we emphasize the police reactions and de-emphasize the original violence. It's formulaic, but because we control the narrative and new access, ignorant people will believe it. They'll have no choice because we keep them ignorant. We gaslight our own citizens by creating violence, downplaying that violence, and then pretending that the response to that violence is the worst thing in the world. New access. Ban normal Chinese voices from our platforms and amplify the rioters. Come on, people, I know you're getting this now. We can do this. We're filtering all the information our people see. We're not letting them see the violence from the separatists, just the big, bad, scary police. So our people are behind us. But here's where we kick in the gear. We've got our people into an anti-China fervor by bombarding them with bogus perspectives. Our people think the radical group of anti-democratic rioters is a peaceful group of popular hippies. And while they sit quietly in the park, the angry, horrible police beat them and hurt them for no reason. Suddenly, we change tactics. We start calling for action. China, do something! Please, for the people, help them. Get in there and control the situation. It's getting out of hand. The trap is set. New access. If we want to go further, once China finally cracks down on the rioters, our job is to show the maximum damage being inflicted on rioters possible. We want to see death and destruction, devastation. Never show the rioters in a bad light. Remember, if we win, we get big money, big control. We're so close now. And now that we've shown these innocent victims being beaten for no reason and downplayed all the anti-government violence, it's time to call for international help and relief. Impose sanctions, tariffs, or anything else we can. If we don't end up getting Hong Kong, at least we'll be able to justify massive profits from punitive trade policies. After all, we don't give a damn about the actual people in Hong Kong. We just want profit. They want to be part of capitalism in the new axis? Welcome. Squeeze China. Squeeze it and punish it for existing. That's what New Axis is all about, my friends. Making our people into starry-eyed idiots, babbling about democracy as they support the insurrection against it. Their cries for anti-fascism converge to form battle drums, while in fact they push fascism out across the globe. New Axis. We'll take it from here. We'll be the big bosses of the world. That city that was yours, now it's ours. The world would be supporting us by then. The New Axis will take territories in the new way. Justified, righteous. We will be the holy ones, taking land from the other race evil ones. Well, maybe it's not such a new way after all. Keep this plan safe and confidential. No one must know that we are in control. Everyone must believe the story we made for them. Democracy exists. Trust us, and with it you'll be free. Give us your money and let us take control. We'll rule you and you'll be free. There are Chinese spies everywhere, so be careful. They're probably watching me. Well, let them. Let them see what kind of person I am. I'm not even gonna swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know. They'll say, why, he wouldn't even harm a fly.